Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to improve your aim. We're going to be taking a look at a bunch of different attachments, a bunch of different things in this game that affect your overall aim and your ability to control your recoil, and all those kind of things that affect how easy it is to get kills at range. There's a lot of settings, a lot of different attachments that affect in this game more so than in previous Call of Duty, so we're going to be taking a look at all that stuff and giving you my opinion. I've done a lot of testing on a lot of these items, and I have figured out which items are the best in certain situations. So like I said, we're going to take a look at all of the aiming tips that I can give you guys for Modern Warfare. And if this video does help you guys out, if you guys learn anything new, you guys want to leave a like on the video, I would greatly appreciate it, as well as make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're getting pretty close to our goal, so I do appreciate it if you guys could subscribe. Now, the first thing I would like to talk about, which I had previously made a video on if you guys want to watch it completely in depth, which is the aim response curve. I made a video on it fully breaking it down, but basically aim response curve is something new that was in Apex. It's never been in any other CODs. You have standard, linear, and dynamic, basically making this as simple as possible for you. Dynamic is going to allow you full control up and down and left and right of your joysticks. Linear is going to allow you better control left to right, and standard is going to be somewhat controlled but not allow you free motion. So my personal opinion, using dynamic, which gives you full control of your recoil pattern, full control of using your joystick, is going to allow you to aim at your opponents easier, and in my opinion has allowed me to get a lot more kills. After switching to it, I have noticed my aim has significantly improved. Now, I do use a scuff controller. I do have some pretty good joysticks that are very grippy, so my thumb sticks are what I think helps improve my aim a lot. I do believe that dynamic is the wave. I do think a lot more people should start switching to it. Definitely try it out, as well as linear is definitely going to be better than standard as well, because anything allows you more control, that allows you, the shooter, to get better aim is going to be beneficial. So definitely try switching dynamic for your aim response curve, as well as your aim assist settings. You have focusing, precision, and standard. The focusing one is basically for new players, which is kind of useless. It's going to allow really hard aim assist when you're close to an enemy, which is not going to allow you, once again, full control of your aim. So I do not recommend it. Precision, I did not notice any really big improvement. Standard is basically everything you guys know that you've been using in Call of Duty. So standard is the wave. It's what's familiar. It's what is the most common thing that has been around for a long time. You definitely don't want to try switching up your aim assist settings right now in Modern Warfare. So I definitely recommend standard for your aim assist settings. And then as far as the sensitivities go, I personally am a high sense player. Like I said, having good joysticks is a pretty big move. And, I definitely think it's going to help you improve your aim a lot in this game. But I do play 8-7. This is something I would usually always play it on. It's something I play on in Fortnite as well. In previous COD, I think I played 7-7. I would say anything around 5-5, 6-6 is pretty standard. But if you go higher on horizontal, they play like a 7 or an 8 or a 9. You definitely want to have at least a 1 difference in your vertical. So like I play 8-7 because you want to be able to move around faster left to right, so you can turn around faster, react a little bit faster left to right. But you're up and down, which is going to affect your recoil. Not very often are you looking up and down in Call of Duty. You want to have that lower, which is a little bit more controlled. So I personally play 8-7. I recommend either 5-5 or 6-6. It's usually the best for people. I'm a very aggressive player, rush around a lot. That's why I play in such a high sensitivity. But the biggest thing in this is the first time, actually the second time, we've seen it previously in Black Ops 4, but it wasn't as fully controlled. Black Ops 4 had the ability to reduce your ADS sensitivity, which was added in Fortnite. This basically is when you're aimed down sight with your L trigger down, it's going to allow your ADS speed left to right to be a little bit slower. Therefore, it's easier to control your recoil and easier to hit your targets. I personally was playing on 0.9 because in Fortnite, I played on a really low sense, which I noticed my aim was extremely good in Fortnite. I tried 0.9. I definitely recommend lowering, at least from 1.0, because it's going to be slower, which allows you to hit your shots better. A lot of the people in this game move around a lot. I play ground war. People are always moving. It's not that common that you find someone that's standing still. Even if they are standing still, with lowering your sensitivity is going to allow you better aim for the people that are standing still, so you can hit your shots and kill them faster. So I recently switched down to 0.8 because I find that I want my recoil and my my ability to aim in one specific spot, specifically in this game, to be as refined as possible. So 0.8 I have found is the current wave. In Black Ops 4 I played on 0.75, so it's almost identical to Black Ops 4. As far as the high zoom, it's for adding different attachments, which I usually never use. so I just leave it at 0.9. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is into the attachment field. Now we're going to be talking about look at the best grips for assault rifles and the best grips for SMGs, because these two guns play completely differently. This is a dominant assault rifle game, but they do have shoot house and a bunch of smaller maps they've been adding. So the SMGs definitely do take effect into this game on what attachments you should be using. But the first thing we want to discuss is everything you guys need to know about the grips and all of the attachments that affect your grip in this game and what the definitions are defined as. Now, you have three different things. You have aiming stability, recoil stabilization, and recoil control. As simply as I can define these for you, aiming stability is your idle sway. When you're aimed down sight, where your aimer moves, it'll sway left to right, it'll sway up and down in a circle a little bit. By adding a weapon that improves your aiming stability, it's going to affect your idle sway, which is going to allow your gun to give you better first shot accuracy, which is kind of good if you're playing ground war, if you're playing those bigger maps where you have that ability to track somebody. It's going to allow better first shot accuracy, which is a pretty good thing to add. The second thing is going to be recoil stabilization. This is basically your left-to-right movement while shooting. It affects your ability to stay on a moving target. So with recoil stabilization, it's going to allow your bullets to be able to not sway left to right. If you're shooting a wall, your gun will shoot straight up and down versus swaying left to right. Like if you test the M4, it curls from the left all the way to the right. With adding a recoil stabilization to it, it's going to allow your bullets to stay better left to right. So all these attachments are really good. I definitely think recoil stabilization is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated thing to add to one of your guns. And then recoil control is basically your vertical up and down recoil control. Adding a attachment that reduces it, it's going to have you have less kick on your weapon, so your gun, your pattern is going to be able to stay more focused on the enemy. So I do believe that the recoil stabilization is one of the best because it allows you to hit a lot of your shots. If you have a really good shot and you're perfectly aimed on somebody's chest, your aim is not going to move left to right. It's going to stay perfectly on the enemy. So my biggest recommendation for the ARs with testing is, I want to throw this out there, is a secret attachment is the Compensator. This is in the muzzles. It's not in any of the attachments where you're going to use it to look for better accuracy. The Compensator is probably the most underrated attachment in the game. It has a significant reduction on a lot of the weapons, significantly better than all the attachments. So try out the Compensator. I would definitely recommend the Ranger foregrip as well as the Operator foregrip. The biggest difference is going to be with the Ranger foregrip, your aim, walking, movement speed is going to be a little bit slower, but it's going to give you a little bit more control. With the Operator foregrip, it's just going to affect your aim down sight speed. So I definitely think having less negatives is a pretty big difference, but the ability to get a recoil control and aiming stability, and the biggest thing for me is on every single gun, these attachments are going to affect your aim down sight speed. I always use a rear grip of the stipple grip tape to counteract that. So with all these foregrips that I add, I always counteract it with the stipple grip tape, and a lot of the attachments are going to allow my aim down sight speed faster. Now for the SMGs, I recommend the Merc and the Commando. Obviously the Merc is going to increase your hip fire accuracy. It affects your aim down sight speed with the recent buff they have to SMGs where they buff that. You're not going to notice it as much. And with the Commando, it's going to affect your aiming stability and your recoil stabilization. So this is huge because it affects both your ability to have less idle sway as well as left to right. So your ability to hit that first shot and be able to retract and hit those same shots if you have good aim is amazing with the Commando foregrip. I actually just tested it out on the AUG, and I believe the Commando foregrip had the best recoil pattern out of every attachment I put on the AUG. So I would highly recommend using the Commando foregrip over any attachment on your SMGs, along with, once again, using the Compensator. If you guys haven't tried it out, I highly recommend trying it out. It does reduce your aim down sight speed. What the recoil pattern it has as far as reducing your vertical kick is extremely significant. Now talking about the next thing, which is your red dots. A lot of people use red dots in this game. I personally have been testing them out. I've been using it on the M4 because it supposedly helps your ability to see better. But I have noticed that using a regular just default ADS sight and not using a red dot has significantly improved my ability to get a lot more kills and be easier to get kills because my aim is better. So when I tested out using the red dot, I'll showcase a picture on the screen here. You guys can see using a red dot on the left versus using grips on the right. You guys can see with the red dot, the vertical recoil is almost twice as much as using a grip. So it's definitely going to help your idle sway, allow you better first shot accuracy, but it is going to have more kick. So more vertical recoil with less idle sway I'm not a fan of. Anything that's going to add more kick as an attachment is not something you want to definitely be using on weapons. So a lot of the weapons in this game have a really good default reticle. I definitely think a lot of the attachments they have in this game with all these hybrids, these optics, are extremely overrated. And the only thing I use is the GI Mini Reflex. But I think a lot of the weapons like the M13, the AUG, the M4, they have a really good default reticle. So I don't recommend using red dots in this game. And the last thing we're going to be taking a look at is does crouch reduce recoil? In Fortnite and a lot of these other games, crouching previously in Call of Duty has been something you do that helps your recoil. In this game, no, it does not. In some instances on certain specific weapons, it actually makes your recoil worse. What crouching does in this game is basically gives you the ability to get longer range kills. So it's really weird that crouching in every other game but this one affects your recoil in a positive way. In this game, it's negative. So do your best to get those standing up kills. Don't crouch. Don't use red dots. And the last thing is mounting is a new thing in this game. It actually was previously in Ghost, but wasn't called mounting. So mounting does significantly help your recoil. So if you guys have the ability to get a mount, and you're trying to get an advantage over your opponent, mounting is going to hide your body a little bit better as well as reduce your recoil. So all the things I want to basically refine in this video. Use mounting. Don't crouch. Don't use red dots, and use the dynamic aim assist. There's a lot of things you guys should be using and definitely not using in this game. Compensator, definitely something you should be using. Red dot, definitely something you should not be using. So two different things you're not used to in Call of Duty. So hopefully this video wasn't too long. I was trying to basically break down everything, you guys, that I could physically put in a video on how to improve your aim. I feel like I have pretty good aim. I feel like I can give a lot of good advice because I've been testing a lot of this stuff out and trying to find what is best to use. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, if you learned anything new, you want to like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would very much appreciate it. So I will talk to you guys in the next one.